Hello everybody, my name is Christine and I work with Oakville Green. Today I'm here to talk to you about Oakville's water, some of the challenges that it faces, as well as what we can all do to protect it. Water is everywhere. It is essential to life on Earth and all living things need it to survive. Plants and animals are made of mostly water, and the adult human body is actually 60% water. 71% of Earth's surface is covered in water, which is why it is often called the blue planet. But 97.5% of the water on Earth is salt water, and humans cannot drink it. Of the small amount of Earth's fresh water, most of it is trapped underground, or in glaciers, or snow on the poles. This leaves less than 1% of Earth's water. Think of it like this. If this tub of water is all of the water on Earth, then this is all of the water that humans, plants, and animals have access to. As you can see, fresh water is a very precious resource. The water cycle is the process where water becomes water vapor, travels into the air and becomes part of a cloud, falls down to Earth as rain and snow, and turns into vapor once again. This cycle repeats itself for millions of years, meaning that you are drinking the same water as the dinosaurs once did. A watershed is an area of land where all of the water in it flows into the same place, like a large river or lake. We live in the Great Lakes watershed, which is home to 20% of the world's fresh water. Our watershed provides water for 40 million people, as well as providing a home for thousands of plant and animal species. Unfortunately, the Great Lakes and the surrounding bodies of water face many threats, such as overfishing, loss of habitat, and invasive species. The Great Lakes are overfished, meaning that we are taking fish out of the lake faster than they can replenish their numbers. But now we are only catching 3/4 of the amount of fish that we caught in 1875. Logging of forests and using land for industry and housing have destroyed animals and plants' homes. Loss of habitat is the largest threat to biodiversity in southern Ontario, and it affects many species. Since the 1800s, more than 160 invasive species have entered the Great Lakes area. On average, one new invasive species enters the Great Lakes every 8 months. While some of these species don't have a serious impact, some of them, such as zebra mussels, do, and they threaten and displace local species. Before we talk about the next topic, here is a small quiz. Which of the following facts is false, based on what we discussed in the video? A. On average, a new invasive species enters the Great Lakes every 8 months. B. We are catching 50% more fish than we caught in 1875 in the Great Lakes. C. The adult human body is mostly water. D. Habitat loss is the largest threat to biodiversity in southern Ontario. The correct answer is B. We are actually catching only 3/4 of the fish that we caught in 1875. The red-sided dace is an endangered species of fish that lives in southern Ontario. The red-sided dace is a cool water species found in ponds and slow-flowing areas of small headwater streams. This species needs clean streams that are full of vegetation like grasses, bushes, and other aquatic plants. The aquatic plants offer shelter and are home to many insects, which is the food source of the red-sided dace. This species is struggling because the streams and rivers that it once lived in are being polluted. The good news is that the Great Lakes are getting cleaner. Governments, groups, and individuals are working together to protect our watershed. Less fertilizers and pesticides are going in. In fact, in the last 20 years, Ontario's farmlands have used half as much pesticide as they used to, meaning that much less ends up in our lakes. Also, 2,500 square meters of safe and healthy habitat has been built for wildlife along the waterfront in Toronto. As our population continues to grow, more and more people are using water. Therefore, it is important that we keep this precious resource safe and we do not waste it. Here are some of the many ways that you can help keep our water clean and protected. To start off, you can pick up litter so that it doesn't get washed into streams and lakes. Of course, make sure to never throw litter on the ground. There are also many ways to make sure that less chemicals enter our water, some of which are using natural fertilizer, like compost, instead of chemical fertilizers. Letting oil and grease cool and solidify after cooking before disposing of it, so that it doesn't get stuck in pipes or enter waterways. Using gravel or sand instead of road salt to melt ice in the winter, so that the water from melted snow stays fresh and clean when it flows into streams. Plants are excellent filters for water. Look at what happens when water is run over plants versus when it is run over just dirt. It's a huge difference. You can plant native species in your garden and yard, which will help clean water as it passes through their roots. Conserve energy and water. This can mean simple acts like turning off a light when you leave a room or taking short showers. These simple acts add up to make a huge difference. Water is a precious resource shared by all of us, and it needs to be protected, not polluted. If you want to learn more, there are great resources out there. The Government of Ontario has many resources on water near you. Oakville Green runs programs where we plant trees, remove invasive species, and clean our forests and creeks. We would love it if you got involved. Thank you so much for watching.